Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So, feeling much better today than I was in my last two videos, and today we're going to be talking about horsetail. So when I was doing my research on horsetail, a lot of the videos and different articles I was reading really talked about horsetail being really good for your nails and for hair loss and thinning hair and things like that. It's really also good for your blood and your circulation. But those are the main things that it was talking about continuously throughout everything. But I was able to pull up 30 different things that horsetail was good for. And so I'm kind of just going to go through each one of those 30 things because I really feel like the article I found was just a very in-depth and really informational article. So I'm pretty much going to use that article and go through the 30 things that was talked about being used for horsetail and the history of horsetail. Also, I did go and I cross-referenced each one of those 30 things to make sure that it was actually used for that. And some of the things was a little bit harder to find, but I was able to find them. So I am pretty confident that this website has some pretty good information on it. And I have used this website through some of my other videos too. So first off, horsetail is the family of the fern plant. And I might post a picture on my thumbnail of the actual plant, but when you open it up and you look at it, it really looks like pieces of a fern. If you've ever grown ferns, I personally love ferns, especially like hanging on the porch in the spring. But that's the family that it originates from, and it was used a lot in places like Ecuador and Asia, and there was a few articles where I said that I had seen that Russia actually used it as well. So the first thing on the list of 30 is going to be arthritis and osteoarthritis. And the reason that they're saying that it was really good because it's really good as an anti-inflammatory, which is also another one of the top 30 things that they talked about, which was swelling. Since horsetail is a diuretic, it helps keep all the extra fluid and inflammation out of your body. So when you're doing a actual like detox flush with horsetail, it's going to be in the form of a tea. I have drank horsetail tea, and I will talk about that story at the end of this video on how it really helped me with something. So wound care is another way that horsetail is used, and now when you're going to use it for wound care, as well as any of the herbs that I talk about being really good for wounds, you're going to be using that in a form of an ointment or a lotion, something to that effect. So pain reliever. A lot of studies said that women used to take horsetail and put it into like a lotion, and they would put it over their C-section incisions, or people would use it after surgery, after giving birth, to block infection and help the pain of the actual C-section and stuff heal and go away faster. Diabetic, if you're a diabetic, a lot of type 2 diabetes, it says with a single dose of horsetail extraction, you know what I mean? It reduces the blood glucose in about an hour and a half. So that's really good to have on hand if you do need your blood pressure to come down. Blood sugar to come down. Horsetail is something that you could have on hand if you was to run out of, your actual medication that you use for it. Coming in at number 6 is hair and nails, which is crazy to me because you would think it would be number 1, because when you punch in horsetail, hair and nails comes up all over the place. And The reason for it is because it has something called silicon in it. And it does say not to confuse it with silicone that is used in plastic surgeries. It's completely different, but I'm guessing that it sounds very similar. I'm not exactly sure how it's pronounced. It is spelt silicon, so silicon, which is very similar to the other spelling, which only has an E on the end. But it has high amounts of that in it, which really helps with your blood flow and stimulating your hair growth and making your nails a lot stronger, as well as for the arthritis part of it. The silicone, whatever that word is, it attacks the calcium and makes that intensify to where it makes your bones and stuff really stronger. So number 7 is liver health. Again, the reason that it is good for liver health is because of the diuretic, and it flushes out your system. So number 8, it kind of threw me off. It's not something that I would have thought was going to be on there, but number 8 is herpes, and they said that the women in the Amazonian tribes used to use it to wash genitalia infections and hygiene. And that's literally all it said about it. So it's interesting. The effect on kidneys and kidney stones. So they are doing a lot of research on it to see if horsetail actually is good at breaking down kidney stones and gallstones and things of that nature. The studies I found on it, and I actually went through and I cross-referenced, there's actually quite a few studies being done on it, and it's about a 50-50 split onto whether they say it really helps with the kidney stones and gallstones. So I don't really know which side I would lean on. I'll probably lean on the side that it does help with that, and the reason for it is kind of tied into my story at the end of this. It kind of all, it ties in. And then bone health is number 10. People traditionally use it for weak bones because it helps absorb the calcium. That's what I was trying to say a minute ago, and improve the bones mineralization and its structure. So number 11 is skin health, and a lot of lotions and facial creams and things like that all have like a horsetail extraction in them. They're found a lot in anti-aging and skin toning products, so that's pretty cool. You can make your own at home. I haven't really gotten into lotions and ointments yet, although I do want to make some. So maybe later on my channel, I will be able to make some creams out of horsetail. So digestion, a lot more articles for digestion. It had a ton of articles on digestion, probably a little less than hair and nails, but quite a few. So digestion is definitely on that list. It says if you drink horsetail tea after eating a meal, it will help calm your digestion down. It helps with bloating, nausea, and stomach pain. Also ties into my story at the end. So number 14 and 15, I feel kind of like go together. I feel like women worry about both of these in concordance with each other. So number 14 is going to be cellulite, and number 15 is going to be varicose veins. When used as a cream, it does help with reducing the appearance of both of those things. So number 16 is gout. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It's G-O-U-T, and it helps with the anti-inflammatory properties when formed from inflammation, arthritis. So I'm not exactly sure what that is. So if you know what it is, helps with that. Number 17 is anxiety. Some articles I have read say that you can smoke horsetail. Some say they wouldn't, but the smoking herb blends have horsetail in it. So I'm going to go ahead and say it's safe. I have personally smoked it. It does help with calming anxiety down and panic attacks and things of that nature when I smoke it, as well as when I drink my tea. 17 kind of rolls into 18, which is relaxation and sleep. Even after I smoke it, it really relaxes me, puts me in a calm state, helps with my anxiety and things like that. Also, the tea form, they're saying is really good at delaying, reducing, or minimizing seizures. So if you do have seizures, if you drink horsetail tea, it can prevent, delay, reduce them when you drink tea with it. Let me just read here because my notes are a little unclear on what I was trying to say. 1 second. Okay, so when taking horsetail over long periods of time, it helps with rebuilding the brain cells to where it really helps with Alzheimer's disease, dementia, and Parkinson's disease. There was a few studies that I read on this. They were really narrowed in on the dementia aspect of it. People who have drank it over long periods of time, if they develop just normal dementia. Now, dementia is something that most elderly people get. It is a natural thing for your body to go into a dementia state, and sometimes it happens when you're in your 50s or your 60s, and then sometimes it doesn't happen until 5 to 10 years or a little less before you actually pass on. But Alzheimer's disease, that's a little bit of a different thing, and not all people develop Alzheimer's disease, so they're wanting to do a study and really narrowing in on if it prevents Alzheimer's disease, which would be really cool if it does, because I do know that's a really heartbreaking disease. The same way with Parkinson's disease, they're kind of all studying it in a whole. So number 21 is ulcers and hemorrhoids. The same thing with it being a diuretic. It flushes out your system. It also helps with the bleeding and helps with clotting and shrinking the size of wounds and hemorrhoids. Again, flu symptoms. I say again because all of these herbs, they seem to have some very commonalities on what they actually help and ward off. And I'll tell you why in just a second. So with flu symptoms, it does help with killing influenza A and B virus. Those are the most common strands of the flu, and then it also helps other strains as well. But the two common ones is A and B, and it helps with fighting off both of those. And they do say that taking this in a tincture form for fighting that off is really good. And you could also do an extraction with vinegar with it as well. So heart health, it kind of all ties into it being a diuretic, increasing your blood flow, helping your heart pump better. It breaks down the plaque in your arteries and helping everything just run really smoothly. So number 24, this one is not saying that it works for it, but it is in study right now. And so what they're doing is they're studying it for chemotherapy. If it helps with the side effects that come with getting chemotherapy. That whole study is a fairly new study, so there was not a whole lot of information on it, but it's definitely something if you are if you have somebody who is taking chemotherapy, or if you yourself have and you have these side effects from it, it may be something that you really want to pay attention to and keep an eye on for as that study develops, to see if horsetail is something that will help you or your loved one in the future. So asthma, because it does open up those airways. And when most people have asthma, it's a difficulty breathing. They have a mucus buildup, and horsetail really blocks the effects of the constricting of the airways. I'm tripping on words today. So number 6, number 20, or number 26, number 27, is diarrhea and anti-inflammatory. Yes. So we talked about the inflammation in a lot of the other body parts. So it is on number 27, a really good thing for inflammatory, diseases such as, lupus and fibromyalgia and things like that. It's a really good tea to drink for that, as well as making it into a tincture. And also for the diarrhea, a tincture or a tea would really help with that. And number 28 is bacterial infections. And it's really interesting because it can fight off a lot of different bacterial infections, such as bacterial, viral, and yeast infections. And let's see, my notes just shot me all the way to the top. Hold on one second here. So number 29 and 30. So number 29 is another study that they're doing, and that is cell-based cancer study. So they're wanting to see if horsetail actually kills cancer cells. It did not say what kind of cancer that it was talking about, so I don't know if it was just a broad umbrella of fighting cancer cells, but they are saying that it does fight off some cancer cells and was killing them when they were testing it on lab rats. So that is something I definitely want to keep an eye on and keep a watch on, mainly because I have a very high chance of getting pancreatic cancer, and so I really want to keep an eye on that, and probably keep this in my cabinet and be drinking it in my tea just as a precautionary, because you never know. Even if it does come out that it is killing cancer cells, are they really going to tell us? That's a whole other thing. And then the last thing is oral health. It really helps destroying the bad bacteria in your gums and gum inflammatory diseases and bleeding, such as gingivitis. So they're saying that you can actually use horsetail and you can make it into an actual mouthwash. So, excuse me, there is recipes out there for making your own mouthwash. And what I had noticed was in those mouthwashes, they put different types of herbs in it. And so horsetail is definitely one of those herbs that you could make if you wanted to make your own home mouthwash to really help with keeping your infections and stuff down in your mouth. And so that was number 30. And I just kind of wanted to go through each and every one of those because there was a lot of studies done and there was a lot of things that were kind of unclear, but I wanted to put them out there so that you know that there's studies being done on it, and they may be studies that you want to look up and really keep an eye on. So the story at the end of this, I wanted to say, was the last 2 days my videos have been kind of off. I know they've been off. I haven't really felt even like filming them, but I pushed videos out anyway. I am trying to do a video orb, which is 365 videos in one whole year. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it, but I'm gonna try. I'm starting with the month. That's what I'm keeping in my head. 30 videos, 30 days, and then I'm gonna keep going from there. And I really want to try and do like a whole 365 day video orb, and that's what I'm trying to do. But the last couple days I have been really sick with my pancreas. So I get chronic pancreatitis. I also have other inflammations and stuff in my body that their doctors are checking and trying to figure out what I have, but it's really unclear. They lean towards lupus, but it doesn't show up on the test that they're running, and the lupus that I would have would be my organs, but it really affects my whole body. So the last couple of days I've had a really bad problem with my pancreatitis, and generally pancreatitis will land me in the hospital for 7 to 10 days. But I really decided to, pray about it and be like, I know these medicines can help me, just show me what to do. And I did some research online and found out that licorice, which is I hate licorice. I said that in my licorice video. I really hate it. But licorice, ginger, and horsetail tea is supposed to calm down and minimize the pancreatitis inflammation flare-ups. And when you're in a flare-up, it's supposed to calm it back down to where it reverses the pancreatitis by killing the bacteria. So, the 2 days ago, I was hurting really, really bad. In fact, the day that I made, I don't remember what the video when I was talking about it. I think I was making bread, maybe, I don't know. I think it was bread. I was hurting really bad, and I was contemplating, going to the hospital for it. The thing is, with pancreatitis, like, you can't go to the hospital and then admit you unless your infection level is high enough for them to admit you. Otherwise, they'll send you home and tell you when you're half dead, come back. And I live in a really rural area, so I was like, you know what? I really can't afford that. I'm not gonna do it. So I started drinking licorice, ginger, and horsetail, and within the hour, guys, my stomach ache stopped. Not completely, like, it was still there, but I wasn't doubled over in pain. And then I drank another cup a couple hours later, calmed it down a lot more. And then the morning I drank another cup, and it, like, I barely can feel it. Like, I know it's still there, and I'm taking it easy on, like, the foods I eat and stuff because I don't want it to flare up again. But I don't have that, like, doubled over pain. It's just this kind of numb bellyache. Like, it's still there. It still tells me, like, I'm still gonna hurt you, but not like I was. And so I figure I'll drink some more of this tonight probably, and I would say it's gonna be gone tomorrow or the next day. At least that's what I'm hoping for. But that's just, like, a really cool thing, because I have gone through so many trips to the hospital. I have almost died several times from it. Like, I've been really sick with pancreatitis, and if I would have known this, like, 5 years ago, I feel like my outcome for hospital visits would be completely different. And so I'm definitely keeping horsetail in my cabinet. Keeping licorice in there, even though I hate it, but it definitely does work. And then the other thing that I was seeing about all the videos having similarities, they just kind of all go together. And a lot of the symptoms that each one of these herbs does cross-references with another herb. So learning herbal medicine and learning herbs and everything like that, it's kind of like, I mean, I don't want to, like, offend anybody, but for me, this is how I feel. It's kind of like reading the Bible. You read one chapter and it cross-references you to 50 others. So it's a really intricate thing to learn and to study and to remember everything. Like, I have all my notes in my iPad that cross-references back and forth, and it's just a really fun thing to learn. And whenever you get really, really sick, and you can go to your cabinet and drink some tea or take a tincture, and you're better in like an hour or two, and you're not taking like harsh pain pills and things like that, that the hospitals don't even give you anyway. Like, you can go there and be half dead and they're not going to give you anything but a Tylenol, but that's a whole other issue. But yeah, so, like, I really am passionate about teaching you guys how to use herbs to heal yourself and everything, but there's always that disclaimer, it's doing it at your own risk. I'm not a doctor. I'm just telling you what I'm doing with for my family. So I've got a whole bunch of other videos, as I say all the time, up there to do. I'm not sure what the next one's going to be, so stay tuned for that. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day and from whatever time you're watching this. And as always, God bless, guys.